I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and for the past few years I thought I had it all figured out with my wife, Jennifer. We met in college, got married young, and I thought we had a solid, if not perfect, relationship. She's always been a little high maintenance, but I figured that was just her personality. She's got that bitchy edge, always throwing her weight around, acting like she's the queen of everything, but I loved her. Or at least I thought I did. At first everything seemed fine. We had our routine. I worked, she stayed home, or so I thought. She was a little distant sometimes, but I chalked it up to her stress at work or her trying to get her act together after our daughter was born. Yeah, she's got a kid with me, little Emma. She's adorable, the reason I was willing to overlook so much. But lately I'd started noticing strange things. Small stuff. Her phone buzzing all the time, hiding her screen from me. She'd get a call and suddenly disappear, claiming she was taking a breather. I didn't think much of it at first. I mean, everyone has secrets, right? Then 2 weeks ago I caught her in a lie. Not a big one, just her saying she was working late when I knew she was at some new boutique opening with her friends. But something about her tone, the way she avoided eye contact, I knew she was hiding something. I decided to check her phone, just a quick glance. I've never been snooping before, but I felt this gnawing suspicion. When I unlocked it, my stomach sank. There were messages, flirty, suggestive messages. Not just from anyone, but from her boss, David. A guy she just started working with about 6 months ago. The messages weren't subtle. They were full of innuendos, things like "can't wait to see you tonight," and "you know I want you," and even pictures of her leaning into him at some bar, holding his hand. And I saw enough to know they'd been sneaking around for months. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. All the signs were there I'd missed, and somehow I'd been so blind. I remember feeling this mix of pure rage and absolute disbelief. How could she do this? After everything I'd given her, after everything we built. I confronted her the next morning. I waited until she was still half asleep, clutching her phone, trying to act innocent. I showed her the messages, her face instantly draining of color. Her reaction. She got defensive, started calling me paranoid, saying I was imagining things. That I was jealous, that David was just a friend, an asterisk advisor asterisk, she said, and that I was overreacting. The way she lied, the way she shrugged it off like it was nothing. I'd never seen her like that before, so cold and dismissive. She called me crazy, said I was insecure, that I was making a mountain out of a molehill. But I knew better. I knew what I saw, and I knew what it meant. They'd been sleeping together probably for months. I felt so betrayed, like a fool. This wasn't just some meaningless fling for her. This was something she actively hid from me, something she lied about repeatedly. And the worst part, she had the nerve to act like I was the problem, like I was imagining things, like I was the one tearing apart our family. I tried to talk to her again, asked her why. Her answer, she said she was stressed, that David helped her with work, and that I was just overthinking everything. She called me jealous and insecure. She said she loved me, but she didn't want to lose her job or her reputation. She told me I was making a big deal out of nothing, that I was losing my mind. That's when I realized I was dealing with someone who's so good at lying, so good at manipulating, that I was probably never going to get the truth out of her. It hit me hard. All those nights I wondered what was wrong, the odd behaviors, the secret calls, the sudden trips she took without telling me. Turns out she was having sex with her boss the whole time. All the time she said she was tired or stressed, she was probably with him. And for what? Some job opportunity, some ego boost. I don't even know. All I know is that I feel like I've been living in a nightmare I can't wake up from. After that confrontation, everything changed. I was in shock, but also furious. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind, so naive. For days after, I kept replaying everything in my head, trying to piece together how I missed all the signs, how I was so stupid to trust her. Jennifer, my wife, she kept up her act, acting innocent, acting like I was overreacting, like I was crazy for suspecting anything. She'd come home, put on that fake smile, and act like nothing had happened. But I saw through it. I saw her face change every time I brought up the messages, saw her stiffen. She was lying to my face, and I knew it. That's when I started planning my next move. I knew I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I felt sick, betrayed, humiliated. And honestly, a big part of me just wanted to walk away, to cut her out of my life for good. But I also wanted to make her suffer, to make her realize what she threw away, what she lost by cheating and lying. I was furious enough to do anything. I decided I'd catch her in the act if I had to, have proof, so I could finally confront her with everything. I needed to see her guilt, her shame. I wanted her to know I wasn't some naive idiot anymore. I started digging deeper. I installed a GPS tracker on her car, something I'd never thought I'd do, but I was desperate. I kept tabs on her movements, her calls, her new routine. And what I found out was worse than I expected. She was spending hours at David's place, sometimes late into the night. I saw her going there after work, sometimes during lunch, sneaking out of the house pretending she was running errands. All the while, she was lying to my face about her whereabouts. It was like she was trying to hide her entire life from me. One night, I finally followed her. I stayed in my car nearby while she went into David's house. My stomach was knotting up, my mind racing. I sat there, staring at that house, wondering how I could have missed everything. When she finally came out and I saw her sneaking into her car with her hair disheveled and her lipstick smudged, I knew I had enough evidence. I knew I couldn't deny it anymore. She was cheating on me with her boss, David. That bastard who helped her hide her pregnancy from me last year, too. The day I found out the full extent of her lies, I felt like my world was crashing down. It wasn't just about the affair anymore. It was about all the lies she'd told, all the days she'd been sneaking around, pretending to be faithful. I felt a deep, burning sense of betrayal. That's when I realized I couldn't keep pretending to be okay with any of this. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay married, but I knew I had to make a choice. I couldn't keep living in her shadow, her fake facade. I had to decide whether I was going to fight for this marriage or just walk away and leave it all behind. The next morning, I woke up with this heavy weight pressing down on my chest. I couldn't sleep after what I saw. I kept replaying everything. Her sneaking out, those secret late nights, the way she looked at David like he was her everything. It wasn't just the betrayal that hurt. It was the lies, the way she manipulated me into thinking I was paranoid. I felt like a damn fool. For years, I've been trying to hold everything together, working my ass off, providing, believing in us, and she was out there screwing her boss, hiding it like it was some grand secret. I sat in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection, trying to process what I was about to do. I knew I couldn't keep living like this, not after all that. I decided I'd confront her again, this time with everything I had, not just the evidence I'd gathered, but my own feelings laid bare. I needed her to see how deep her betrayal had cut me. I wanted her to understand that I wasn't just some patsy anymore, that I knew the truth and that I was done with her lies. When she got home that evening, I was waiting in the living room, my arms crossed, face cold and hard. She looked surprised, maybe even a little nervous when she saw me. I didn't hold back. I laid it all out, everything I knew, everything I'd seen, the proof I'd collected. Her face twisted into a mix of anger and contempt. She started to spin her usual lies, saying I was jealous, insecure, that David was just her mentor, her friend, and that I was overreacting. She called me paranoid, said I was imagining things because I didn't want to accept her success. I told her that her success meant nothing if she was cheating and lying her way through it. Her reaction, she snapped, started yelling about how I didn't understand her, how she was entitled to her own life, and that I was controlling her. She accused me of being a terrible husband, and somehow in her twisted mind she made it about me, but I wasn't having it. I told her that I'd had enough, that I'd seen enough, that I was done pretending I didn't know what she was doing. I told her I deserved honesty, respect, and that I wasn't going to be played for a fool anymore. That's when she started crying, but it didn't seem genuine. It was more like she was upset that I found out, that her little secret was exposed. She kept saying she loved me, that she was sorry, but her words felt hollow. I looked at her and knew she wasn't going to change, that she'd lied to me for months, maybe years, and now she was trying to spin it to make herself look like the victim. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and something colder, disgust. How could she do this? How could she betray everything we built, everything I thought we had? I told her I needed time to think, that I wasn't sure what came next. I told her I was hurt beyond words and that I needed to process everything. She kept begging, trying to guilt-trip me, saying she was sorry, that she loved me, that she didn't mean for it to happen. But I knew better. Sorry doesn't fix betrayal. Sorry doesn't erase the fact that she'd been lying to my face for months. I could see the truth in her eyes, and it was ugly. That night I slept alone, feeling like I'd just lost a part of myself, like my trust in her was shattered beyond repair. The next day everything felt different. I was numb, like I was walking around in a fog. I kept asking myself if I should stay or go. Part of me wanted to forgive, to forget, to pretend everything was fine. But deep down, I knew I couldn't. I couldn't look at her the same way anymore. I kept thinking about all the nights she spent with David, all the lies she told our friends and family about her career, all the times she pretended to be the loving wife. It all felt so hollow now. The person I thought I knew was gone, and I was left with this question: what do I do next? Over the next few days, I went through every possible feeling you could imagine: anger, betrayal, sadness, even a strange sense of relief that I finally knew the truth. Still, it was hard to process. I kept replaying everything, wondering how I missed all the signs, how I was so blind to her lies. I thought about Emma, our daughter, and how much she meant to me. I didn't want her to grow up in a mess like this, with her mother being unfaithful and dishonest. But at the same time, I felt like I was drowning in my own mind, trying to figure out what I should do. One thing I knew for sure: Jennifer wasn't going to stop. Her attitude shifted from guilt to defiance pretty quickly. She got bitchy, even more so than usual. She'd snap at me if I asked about her whereabouts, accuse me of being paranoid, or call me insecure. She'd say she was just doing her job, and that I was overreacting because I couldn't handle her success. But I could handle the truth. I just couldn't handle being lied to and manipulated anymore. It was clear to me she had no intention of stopping her affair with David, and I wasn't about to be some fool who stayed and got played. That's when I decided I had to take control of the situation. I started looking into my options: legal, emotional, anything that would give me clarity. I reached out to a lawyer just to see what my rights were if I decided to divorce. I also started making plans to get a place for myself and Emma if I decided she was too toxic to stay with. Honestly, part of me still hoped she'd come back and admit everything, but I knew she never would. She'd lie her way out of it, she'd manipulate, she'd act like she was the victim. That's just who she was: Jennifer, the queen of lies, the master manipulator. Meanwhile, the emotional toll was brutal. Every time I looked at her, I saw the lies and the betrayal. I felt like I was losing my mind. I'd wake up in the middle of the night wondering how I let things get this far. I was furious at myself for trusting her, for believing in our marriage when she was out screwing her boss behind my back. I felt humiliated that I'd been so blind, so trusting. And then there was this deep sadness. What could I do now? Could I forgive her? Could I ever trust her again? Or was this the end, the moment I had to cut her out entirely? I started talking to some close friends, trying to get advice. Some told me to fight, to try to save what's left of the marriage. Others said to walk away, to protect myself and Emma from a toxic situation. It was a mess of conflicting opinions, but deep down, I knew I had to choose what was best for me. I kept telling myself that I deserved honesty, respect, and to be with someone who truly loved me. Not someone who cheated on me with her boss, lied about it for months, and then called me insecure when I finally found out. So I made a decision: I was done. Done with the lies, the manipulation, the betrayal. I wanted clarity, I wanted peace. I wasn't sure what the future held, but I knew I couldn't go back to the way things were. I had to step away, figure out what my life looked like without her. I also knew I'd have to be strong for Emma. She didn't deserve to be caught in the middle of this mess, but I couldn't protect her if I stayed in this dysfunctional, toxic environment any longer. I've started talking to a lawyer, looking into a separation. I want to get my own place, start fresh, and let her deal with her own mess. I don't trust her anymore. Her words, her actions, they're all just lies to me now. I keep asking myself if I should try to save the marriage, but honestly, I don't see how that's possible after everything. I feel a mix of heartbreak and relief, and I'm just taking it one day at a time. The worst part is knowing I'll probably never get the real truth from her, and that Hurts more than anything. It's been a few weeks since I made the decision to walk away. Honestly, I feel like I've been living in some kind of fog, part numb, part angry, part just exhausted. I've been staying with a friend, trying to get myself together and sorting out the legal side of things. The lawyer says I have a solid case for divorce, especially with all the evidence I gathered. But even with that, the emotional toll still hits hard. I find myself waking up sometimes in the middle of the night, replaying everything, wondering if I did the right thing. Jennifer, of course, is still acting like everything's fine, like she's the victim here. She's been bitchy, throwing fits, trying to guilt-trip me into staying. She calls, texts, even shows up at my new place sometimes, acting like she's sorry, like she's going to change. But I see through it now. All her tears, her apologies, they're just more lies. She's such a master at manipulation, it's almost laughable. But I don't buy it anymore. No way. I know she's only sorry she got caught, and she's probably already scheming to get her way again. I've been trying to keep Emma out of all this chaos, but it's impossible to shield her completely. She's only 5, but she senses when something's wrong. She's been acting out, having trouble sleeping, and I hate that she's caught in the middle of all this mess. I tell myself I'm doing the right thing, that she needs stability, not some broken home. But it still hurts. I never wanted her to see her parents like this, fighting and hurting each other. I just want her to be happy, safe, and loved. That's what keeps me going some days. As for me, I'm starting to think more clearly about what's next. I'm not interested in trying to patch things up with Jennifer anymore. She's made her choice and I've made mine. I want to rebuild my life, find some peace, and figure out what happiness really means for me. Part of me still feels this sting, this anger that she lied for so long and betrayed everything she swore she'd protect. But I also feel a strange sense of relief. Like I've finally taken control of my life again. For the first time in a long while, I'm not just reacting. I'm making decisions for myself. I've started looking for a job closer to where I'll be living. I want to get my own place, separate from her, so I don't have to feel like I'm living in her shadow anymore. I've also been talking to my parents, who are supportive but hurt on my behalf. They keep telling me I did the right thing, that I shouldn't let her manipulate me into staying in a toxic situation. That's what I need to hear, because honestly, some days I feel so lost and broken. I keep reminding myself that I deserve better, that I deserve honesty and respect, and that I won't let her lies define me. I'm also trying to focus on Emma. She's my everything, and I can't let her feel like she's the reason I stayed or left. I want her to grow up knowing that she's loved, that she's not part of some messed up story. I have a new routine now, visiting her, making sure she's okay, and trying to be the best dad I can be. Sometimes I look at her and wonder how she ended up with such a mom, but I tell myself I'll do everything I can to give her a stable, loving environment. That's all I want now, just to be there for her, to protect her from the chaos of her mother's lies. Honestly, I don't know what her future holds. I don't know if I'll ever fully trust again or if I'll ever forget what she did. But I do know I'm done chasing after apologies that will never come. I'm done trying to figure out why she did this or how I could have missed it. I just want to move forward, even if it's one step at a time. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well, knowing I took back control of my life from someone who tried to destroy it. And that's what I plan to do. Now that I've reached this point, I spend a lot of time reflecting on everything that's happened. It's been a brutal roller coaster, but honestly, I feel a sense of clarity I didn't have before. I realize that trust, once broken so badly, isn't easily repaired. Jennifer's betrayal cut deep, and even though I've made the decision to move on, I can't help but wonder what might have been if she'd been honest from the start. Living apart from her has been a relief, but also a source of pain. I miss the life we had, the family we built, but I also know that staying would have only meant more lies, more betrayal, and a never-ending cycle of hurt. In some twisted way, this whole experience has shown me what I truly value: honesty, loyalty, respect. I've learned that I don't need someone who manipulates and lies to keep their own secrets. I deserve better. Emma is my biggest reason for keeping my head up. Watching her grow, knowing I get to be part of her life without the chaos of her mother's dishonesty, gives me hope. I want to raise her in a home built on truth, kindness, and love, something Jennifer couldn't give her. Every day I spend with her reaffirms my decision to put her first, to be the dad she needs me to be. As I look ahead, I've started focusing on my own healing. I'm seeing a counselor, trying to work through the pain and betrayal I feel. It's not easy, but I know I can't let this define me. I'm learning to forgive myself for trusting her so blindly, and I'm trying to forgive her too, though that's the hardest part. She betrayed me in ways I never thought possible, and I doubt I'll ever fully forget. But I also realize that I don't have to be broken forever. I can rebuild step by step. The truth is, I don't regret discovering her affair. It hurt like hell, but it finally gave me the clarity I needed. I see now that I was living in a fantasy, believing in a version of her that wasn't real. That realization set me free. I'm not going to spend my life trying to fix what's broken or hoping she'll change. Instead, I'm choosing myself, my daughter, and my future. That's the lesson I've taken from all of this. Sometimes, the hardest truths are the ones that set us free. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I'm confident I'll be okay. I'm hurt, sure. I'm angry still. But I also feel a sense of hope. Hope that I can find happiness again, that I can trust again, and that I can build a new life on my own terms. Jennifer may have lied, betrayed, and manipulated, but she doesn't get to define my future. I do, and I'm finally ready to move forward, stronger and wiser than I was before.